right, welcome back to Winning It with the Home Team. This is episode 15. So we've taken a little bit of a sabbatical for the summer. We haven't done a podcast since May, and we've been pretty busy. So, Todd, you made it through your first summer here at the LC.
Yeah.
How are you holding up? I know that it's August, so we had June, July. How are you doing?
Yeah, it takes its toll, right? Like, I mean, it's a long summer, but then it's fast at the same time, if that makes any sense at all. I had a blast, though. Like, I really did. What did we have? We had VBS. We had basketball, both littles and bigs. We had America camp, strength and conditioning camp. We had soccer camp. We had dodgeball camp. We had, what am I missing?
Kids camp. We had kids camp, right? Yeah. America camp.
America camp was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it. Loved every minute of it. Knew that I was going to enjoy the kids, because I just love the kids. But you know what I was not prepared for? You know what I learned most about camps?
What?
The most impressive thing to me about these camps was the kids, and I use the term kids loosely, that are sitting beside us.
No doubt. Yeah, for sure.
I got to watch both the youth and the college kids work in such a way that just brings, there's no other way to say it, but it brings glory to God.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that they acted and behaved just in interacting with the kids and the adults just blew me away.
Yeah.
And I got to see that firsthand with our own, because we're very protective of our own, and most of them are here today. But even going to kids camp and seeing the other youth and college students dealing with the kids, like it was fantastic to watch. Like that was my favorite part by far, is seeing God work through them at camps.
Yeah.
And that's what camp allows us to do, right? It allows us to speak that light into these young kids. And I expect that of the adults, to be able to do that well, but you don't. I guess I probably should have expected it from the youth. But man, they were just tremendous. That was my favorite part.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, summer does not happen as far as the camps that we do, unless these guys sitting beside us show up. Right. And we had a lot of teenagers. You're not kids, you're teenagers, right? We had a lot of teenagers help us, but the three sitting beside us, we get to call, a deeper family, right? Because they work at the LC. So without further ado, I'm going to let them introduce themselves, because they surely can speak for themselves. So yeah, we'll start with the guy sitting beside me. Tell me your name, how old you are, where you go to school, and what's your primary sport or activity.
So my name is Jackson Sant. I go to Mansfield Legacy High School. I'm 16, and I play baseball.
Baseball guy. Cool.
My name's Abby. I go to Newman International Academy. I'm 17, and my favorite sport is softball.
Nice.
I'm Harrison. I go to Legacy High School in Mansfield, and I play golf.
Nice. Cool. And school starts up soon, right?
Next 1 week.
Yeah. Do you start the same day Legacy does?
I start the day after them. On
Okay,
Thursday.
so you get one more summer break.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. Well, how many camps or leagues have you guys done with us? So I think that Harrison, out of these guys, you're the veteran, right? You've been here the longest at the LC. I forget who's the newest between you two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're the newest, Abby. And of course, Jackson, you've been around. Your family's been around for such a long time. But tell us what camps you guys did, those that you remember, and if you miss them, no big deal.
I think I worked 4 or 5, or both basketball ones, dodgeball ones, America camp, and a couple more. So.
I did bigs and littles basketball, pickleball, America, kids camp, VBS. Yeah, there's some other.
Yeah.
VBS, kids camp, dodgeball camp, bigs and littles basketball, and soccer camp.
Nice.
Jackson pretty much just slept at the LC this summer. I think he was here for everything.
Yeah.
And on a shift.
Did you sleep on your shift, Jackson?
I did not.
Yeah, so these guys also work at the front desk with us, and they are likely the faces that you will see if you come in past 4 o'clock from like the 4 to 8 shift. And they do such a great job there too. So, okay, so out of all of the camps that y'all just talked about, tell me your favorite one, and if you have a story, funny story, or maybe a sentimental story. It didn't have to be sentimental.
Okay.
Share about that. Yeah, Jackson, you go first.
My favorite camp probably had to be kids camp because you get to connect with not just all of our kids from our church, but kids from other churches, and you get to share maybe a different story than what they already know, or hear a different voice, and it might connect with them differently. My favorite, my memory from this past year was being able to just connect with all the kids, go have fun. Well, not just my kids, but when we're at the lake, I'm engaging with other churches. Right. We're just going to have a blast because we're here to have fun, and then we get to glorify God all day long.
Yeah. Now, so Jackson mentioned kids camp. For those of you that don't know what our kids camp is, that's when we take 3rd through 6th graders, right? About an hour and 15 minutes away to Glen Rose, Texas. And it's our Riverbend Kids Camp. We've done that every year for a very long time. And Jackson, weren't you dressed up as like one of the superheroes or something? Like on stage? Like you go flying in and running through the crowd of like 600 people. And what character were you?
My name was Jackson. The character was Jackson. And
So original.
So original. My superpower was invisibility.
Okay.
Kids, that was hilarious because I am not able to perform that superpower on my own. So
did they ask you about performing that superpower?
Oh gosh, they'd ask me, "Wait, are you that kid?" I was like, "Oh no, that's my twin.
Oh,
He
nice.
likes to go sleep in the day."
Okay.
And the kids figured I was not my twin. It did not exist. So
Yeah.
It was fun. Enjoyed that.
And so your interaction with the kids at kids camp was your favorite. Yeah. Yeah. One of our purposes when we do these camps is to do the sports camps so as to invite them to kids camp, right? Like kids camp, honestly, is my favorite week of the entire year. And we do a lot of stuff at the LC, but you get kids away from their environments, away from their homes. And the kids think that you guys are way cooler than Todd and I, right? That's obvious for a lot of reasons, but you get to connect with kids on such a real basis and lead them into a relationship with God through, you did dodgeball, you were Captain Invisible, I guess, and a lot of other things, which was really cool. So, Abby, what's your favorite story about this summer?
Well, my favorite story is probably at pickleball camp.
Yes, pickleball.
I'm actually so bad at pickleball. It's not even funny. But a little kid, his name was Brock, and he was just so much better than me, and he actually taught me how to play pickleball. Pretty cool.
Yeah, he was good, for sure. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, he was a little standoffish at the beginning of the camp, right?
Yeah.
But I saw that you engaged him really well that week, for sure. And so he taught you more about pickleball.
He did.
No doubt, for sure. What about you, Harrison?
I think it was Big's basketball camp, and so I had the second oldest group maybe, and all of them were friends, and so they talked the entire time during devotions each day, and then on the last day, whenever we were supposed to be talking about Jesus and the resurrection and the crucifixion, they went dead silent, and I got to share everything, and they didn't annoy or talk the entire time, so it was really cool.
I see God work time and time again when it comes to presenting the gospel. Like you said, kids are cuckoo. They're talking, they're not listening. They're playing with their granola bar or they're throwing their orange and all those types of stuff. But on the day that the gospel is presented, we do pray up front, God, please let them listen, and help them understand what we're saying. That it always is the case. When we present God's word, the Holy Spirit just falls and he gives kids listening ears. And that's what I love about you guys. You guys were so good at presenting the gospel this summer through all of those camps. You guys were the ones that shared the good news time and time again.
Yeah, there were so many times during individual camps that we had here that, you and I will open or close and, we would throw it to them and be like, hey, Jackson, can you, on the spot, why don't you pray us out or something? And I was impressed every single time you guys stepped up, did a great job.
Yeah, and that just speaks to the confidence that we have in you. That's why we wanted to bring you guys on the podcast is because, again, I can't say this enough. Without you guys, our camps don't happen. Without you guys, you said it, like relationships that you guys have with the kids. Again, you guys are so much cooler than we are. So they'll listen more, right? You guys are such an integral part of what we do. And really, aside from Christ, maybe even the foundation.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. 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 Just because we have 9:00 bedtimes doesn't make them cooler than us. It's just a fact. Yeah. True.
For sure. So Todd, let's share some stories about our favorite memory.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. No, for Jackson, I can speak to each one of you individually, but I will tell you, for Jackson, he caught my attention when we were having dodgeball, and for good reasons, because he was always in with the kids. Like, there was never a time when Jackson was back in the background. He was always at the forefront. And so for me, my favorite
Pegging kids in the head?
pegging
No.
kids in the head.
No, just kidding.
No, absolutely. He was front and center with those kids every single time. Like,
Yeah.
I really appreciate that, because a lot of times we get people that come in, especially when they first start, and they're a little hesitant to engage, and that was never you. And having known you for a while, I knew that wasn't going to be you, but it's just good to see that you were willing to jump in. So that was my favorite part, was dodgeball camp and watching you grow with those kids. Abby, my favorite part, I will never ever forget the day that you walked in to interview for this job, and immediately Abby won me over, because she came in and she was like, "This is who I am. I make no apologies. This is what I'm about. Love it or leave it." And immediately I was like, yes. When we talk about, one of the virtues we talked about with the kids this year was grit.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think of grit, I think of someone like Abby, who she never says no. When you say, "Hey, Abby, can you work this shift?" She's like, "Yep, I got you." She never backs away from anything. She's always willing to jump in and help out no matter what. Abby has a little bit of a shy streak. But you know what? When we asked her, "Can you come on this podcast?" Here she is, right? Like, she's here. Abby's all in, and I watch her heart, the way that she works with these kids. But from the very beginning, my favorite memory of you is when you first stepped in here and said, "Yeah, this is who I am. I can come work for you." And there was never a doubt that you were going to be able to do that. So, Harrison, I don't even know where to begin on the stories. I think you and I, Katrina, share our favorite story with him. And so I'll let you tell that. But aside from that, I went home. I don't even know if I've told you this or not, but I went home the night. I don't know if it was your first or second night to work, but I was sweeping up in the gym, and you were like, "Hey, let me take that. I got it." And this is your first job, right? This is your very first job. And I knew that. And to have you come in and take over, I went home that night and I told my wife, I was like, "He's special." In a good way.
Had to clarify that one.
Yeah. He just his work ethic alone, but he is so good with the kids, and that'll kind of segue into the story that I think we share. But from the very first night, I knew what kind of employee we were going to have. Already knew what kind of person we had.
Sure.
With all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But specifically that night. So I'll let you kind of share that story.
Yeah, Harrison, you probably already know which one this is. I would say if I was to say, what my favorite sports camp was this summer, hands down, it probably the America camp. Just because of the really just the small number of kids that we had, gave me the opportunity, and Ty the opportunity to jump in there and do all the things, like the watermelon seed spinning competition, which I won.
Yeah.
I didn't do the Bluebell challenge, but so we had this little kid come in who's autistic, and did not know that until he and his dad and his brothers walked in on that Monday. And so immediately, I don't even know, Harrison, if I went to you or at what point we went to you and said, hey, will you kind of be his buddy? I'm pretty sure it was after the fact that you had already done that.
Absolutely. It was.
So Harrison took this guy under his wing immediately, and he was his buddy. And Harrison, that hands down was my favorite memory from this entire summer, was watching you serve him. Like, you have no idea how much that blessed his dad. Like, I mean, his dad stayed pretty much all 4 days. But to have that weight, you know, and I use the word weight because, you know, it's a responsibility that a dad has, right? A good one.
Yeah.
But I mean, you gave that dad a break from worrying about his kid and how he was going to relate to the other kids. And he had a great time. Like, I had so much fun playing kickball with him. He did the Bluebell Challenge with us. He engaged so well, and he engaged so well because he had a relationship with you, and you were the one that initiated that. And so I think that was the same one that we shared, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, hands down, that was my favorite memory this summer, for sure.
Okay, so what about Abby?
So Abby, did you work soccer camp, right?
I did.
Okay, soccer camp. And you were a little bit late, right? Like, did you come on Monday or Tuesday? I think you came on Monday.
It was my first day working.
Monday. I mean,
Yeah,
like, first
yeah.
day. Like, I mean, absolutely no training because you were out of town that weekend before when we had the meeting. And so it's snack time, and snack time is when we do the devotions with the kids, right? And so they get their snack, they go inside of a room, and we have the grit cards that we use that talks about gratitude, respect, impact, and toughness. And I hand this card to Abby, and I just briefly say, hey, this is the card. These are the questions that you go over with them. This is the word for the day, and this is the verse. Here you go. Do the devotion. And I look at her, and there's a little bit of a blank stare that crosses her face. And immediately I'm like, do you want me to do this for you to just give you an example of what to do? And just instantly, yes, please, yes. And the reason why that's my favorite is because it showed a lot about you. Like, you want it to do the right way, and you need to see it done so that you know what the expectation is. And so that by far was my favorite memory. Just the excellence that you desire to have, and the training that you want to be sure that you have to get the job done accordingly. And then you did all the other devotions from here, from that point on, and did a great job, for sure.
Thank you.
And then Jackson, so you had your Captain Invisible.
Yep.
You had your Captain Invisible debut. And then you came back from that, and we had our last week of camps, which was the basketball one and strength and conditioning camp, right? My favorite memory of Jackson is doing the Camper of the Week announcement. Like, how you would stand up, shoulders back, head back, and scream at the top of your lungs, Camper of the Week is, and then you gave the drum roll. Like, I wish that you had done that all summer long. The energy that brought to the camp, it was so good. The kids loved it.
I would like to back up and go back to something that you said when you mentioned that you won the watermelon seed spitting contest.
Yes.
Are there any, can you give any tips to anybody out there that wants to win like, how do you do that? Because that was impressive.
Yeah. So the watermelon seed itself is like, you've got the fat part, and then it goes into the skinny part, right? So when you put it in your mouth, like, you want to have the skinny part going out, and really you just got to believe in yourself.
That's
like,
just confidence.
It's just, Like,
Okay.
you just got to own it and
Yeah.
just spit it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I knew going into it that you being from North Carolina was a disadvantage for everybody else. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody got a chance to hear how you.
Who was the camper that won that? Was it Jackson?
I wasn't there for America camp.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
No idea.
I was blown away by your skills. I don't even recall. Yeah.
Well, you're welcome. Yeah.
All right. So you guys, we mentioned, that you get a chance to serve at these camps. And so my question to you guys is why? Why do you do it? Because you could easily be going other places during the summer, right? Like, yes, you guys are working here and you get paid very handsomely, by the way. But you have an opportunity to go and get, you can go to the pool or you can go to movies or do whatever, work at a job that you can get paid, a whole lot more money. Why do you serve? Why is it, and I'll start with you, Jackson, why is it that you want to be here serving?
I enjoy the community that we have here because it's we're all same-minded, Christ-like, and we get to basically just go have fun with each other when we work here. We get to go and connect with kids, and we get to engage them, and we get to say, hey, this is sports, this is what it should be, and then this is what you can get from sports.
Right.
And I enjoy being able to express our Christness through sports.
Good.
That's good.
Good.
And you do a good job doing that.
Yeah.
Yep.
For me, it feels good to serve. It feels good when I get to see the God moving in the kids' lives, like their love that changes over the time for God.
Fair.
A couple weeks ago, we in our Sunday school class we did like a personality test to see our spiritual gift, and so mine was service, and so which makes sense. We just came back from Seattle. It was a lot of fun because like the whole week we just served other people, and so kind of like what Abby said, it gives you like a good purpose and just makes you feel so good afterwards, like just having that purpose in your life.
Yeah, and so that's something I'd like to explore just a little bit is you guys went through all these camps and you're serving, and then you mentioned you were in Seattle. So tell a little bit about that. Like I know you said you're serving, but what kind of things are you doing? Why are you in Seattle?
So we have a church plant out there with the West Walls, and so they have a summer fest, which is just
A festival, summer festival, kind of like a get-together for the community.
Right.
so there's a bunch of vendors there. They have a beer garden where everybody drinks. They have a concert. Not beer, no.
Good answer.
Okay, good answer. Good
That could
answer.
have backfired really bad on the podcast.
Oh, man. Okay.
So what were, I know he mentioned serving, but when you had your spiritual gift, what did you determine that it is for you two?
I think I was absent that week.
Okay.
So I never got to do that one.
Right.
Jackson's spiritual gift.
We did have an all access card.
Okay, no.
No, but
We could have gone in there.
we did get
Okay.
to empty out the trash and stuff. But
Good.
we also got to just express to the vendors like how much that they're cared for, like the community, like, hey, we're here to serve you, and to them it's abnormal. Because not many people, you don't hear people constantly come from Texas. You get a group of 20 kids coming in from Texas to say, hey, we're here to help you. Like, what do you need? How can we serve you? And so that was abnormal to them. But just being able to support Wes was fun.
Yeah, that's impressive that you guys are willing to do that after a summer that we had where you're serving 24/7 basically. So where does that come from for you guys? Who have you watched growing up that you've seen serve and you said, man, I want to be like that, or they've just had such a huge impact in their service?
So for me, it's the youth before me. So whenever we're the kids ministry, like with the kids that we're serving now, it's looking up to those guys. I'm like, wow, they're going all over the place and they're excited. Like it gives them energy and they enjoy it.
Right.
Why? And so you kind of follow their path, you ask them, and then you get to be one of them. And it is so worth it.
Yeah. And now you've kind of flipped that. So
Yeah.
people are watching you that are growing up. So that's great. How about you, Abby? Who have you watched?
Serving like Carrie Dugan. I mean, the love she has for those kids of hers is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like just being like that.
Yeah. What is it that she does specifically that?
Like if Rosie's on the floor screaming, like the fact that she can, even if she still has a migraine from like a headache or anything, like she will care for them and have the love even.
Yeah. Made a huge impact on you. Good deal. Harrison?
I watched my mom serve a lot whenever I was a little kid. So I have two sisters, and then she worked as a teacher, and so she would work 3 days out of the week, and then the other 2 days she'd be taking care of us, and then she'd also be serving at the church, and so she was just constantly giving 24/7, and so she just had a love for other people that she showed through service.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's good. How about you? I'll throw you a curveball. Who have you watched grow up, or recently? I mean, whatever. But because to me, this is what it's about. Listening to these guys, and we've already made the distinction. They're not kids; they're teenagers. But listening to them have people in their lives that are important that they've watched, and then seeing how it plays out. You know, we ask the question, why are you coming back and serving here every day? This is why I do it, because I see what kind of impact it
Yeah.
has on people when you have those examples. So I'm just curious for you. You've been doing this for so long. Do you have anybody?
Yeah, if I was to go back and recreation pastors are like really few and far between. There's not that many of them, and there's not that many of us. But I think just in this church, I think I remember Pauline Medlin, and really just she did a lot of things great. She wanted to be excellent in all the things that she did. And I think that she cared about people. So when I go back to just, how things are planned and implemented, I think about her a lot.
Yeah.
Also, people like Mary Hibbs and, Karen Bondurant and like people like that, like people that, when I grow up, I want to be just like them, from the level of energy that they give, to just how fun they are and how they don't take themselves too seriously. But ultimately, I mean, the reason why I keep doing this is because of the relationships that I keep over the years. Families continue to come play sports with us because I want to believe that they know that we care about them and we show that. And so it's the families that continue to come, those that we continue to have a relationship in which I know that we're doing a good thing and that Christ is honored. Like that's why I'm continuing to be here.
Right.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh man, I had a boss that I worked for one time that he said something that really kind of changed the way that I viewed people, because working in police work for so long, it's easy to get jaded. And he told me one time, he said, the number one thing that you need to have is compassion for others, because if you have that compassion for others, it will change the way that not only you view people, but it'll change the way they view you. And until he said that, I did not know the power that had. And then I began to watch him and how he dealt with people, and the empathy he showed and the compassion he showed for others just set such an example for me on serving others, that I began to see how people would naturally be drawn to him. And it changed people's not only perspective of him, but it also changed their own perspective of life. And it was just so powerful to watch him serve in that way. And just, if you are willing to bring yourself to someone else's level, even momentarily, the same way that we talked about Harrison, with the child with autism, if you are able to get on that level with that person and say, hey, I'm in this with you, it just changes everything. And so for me, it would be him.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. So we work a lot with kids. Obviously, this is what we do. Has your perspective changed on kids throughout the summer? And if it has, how has it changed?
It definitely has. It's given me a news perspective of like how I'm privileged to have a Christ-like family, because a lot of these kids don't. They're not from our church. They come from the community who we've reached out to through our basketball league or soccer league or flag football, whatever we have going on. And you get to connect with them, and you're like, man, I've had a privileged life. And so being able to understand and connect with them has opened up a lot of doors, honestly. Just feel like, hey, I don't know how to, but I can find someone, right? Because I can connect with them through other people that I know.
You've mentioned connect several times. You just mentioned connect with kids, and then you also mentioned the community that it lends itself towards. And that's something that you're really good at, is connecting with kids. So, Abby, what about you? Has your perspective changed on kids this summer?
I wouldn't say it's changed, but my love for them has definitely grown. I mean, I've always loved kids, but being able to hang out with kids and teach them the Word of God is even better.
Yeah.
It hasn't really changed for me, but it did kind of click this summer of how important the camps are for the kids. Because I was looking back, whenever I was a kid doing the same camps, it was like whenever you went to dodgeball camp, like that was the highlight of the summer, like playing dodgeball with your friends. Yeah. And so, especially like whenever it gets to like the Wednesday, Thursday days, and you're like, it's just 4 days or 4 hours I have to get through. You have to switch and be like, okay, well the kids like love this, like this is what they're looking forward to. And so that's whenever you kind of have to put like everything into it, because that's what they want, that's what they love.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's how you'll connect with them, and that's how you did connect with them. Yeah. Harrison, what about because you've served Has God grown your faith because of your service to Him this summer?
Yeah, definitely. So at kids camp, I ran the dodgeball station, and so two groups would come in and we played dodgeball. And so there's this one kid in my little group too that was he was just kind of ornery the whole week, and like he wouldn't do anything that you said, super rebellious. And so each night at worship, he would just sit down the whole time. To ask him to get up, he'd say no. And so I really prayed for him that he would just engage and that he would learn and open up his heart. And so I played dodgeball with him on the last day, and he just liked me a lot more after that. But yeah, and so then that night during worship, I prayed for him again. I was like, just let him engage with us. And so I went to the front with a couple of other kids, and he was there right behind us, and he was singing and dancing and jumping. And so that was really, really cool to see.
That's awesome. Yeah. So again, because of sports and your connection with playing sports with him, that relationship was grown. God heard your prayer and He chose to answer it.
Yeah.
That's so good.
So Jackson, back to something that you said, which really hits home with me, which is you watched other youth serve, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we talked a little bit about how now you have that opportunity to show other people underneath you that are growing how to serve. If you were able to just set them down and say, here's my advice, what would that advice be for serving in our ministry?
You need to learn how to have a lot of patience, because you might be like, oh, kids, they're fun. You just got to go hang out with them. And then you get to, again, that fourth day, that Wednesday, Thursday, you got, like 4 more hours.
Yeah.
Then you got to change that. And then that's when a lot of patience has to come into play, because you got to realize they're really amped up and you're really like tired.
Yeah.
And so you got to find a balance between that.
I love what you guys are saying, and you're kind of saying the same thing, which, yes, you have to have that patience, because you have to come to the realization that for these kids, this is everything.
Mm-hmm.
For you, you're not just coming for a job to make money. You're coming to spread the word of God and the light of God into these kids' lives. And oh, by the way, they cannot wait to get out of that car. When they pull up and Katrina and I open that car door, they are shooting out of that car door because they can't wait to get there.
Yeah.
And so she does a really good job of helping us to match their energy level. For good reason, because that's where they are, and we're meeting them in that space.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's phenomenal. That's a great advice.
Yeah. That's good. You guys have done great this summer. Yeah. Any parting words from you guys or wisdom?
I would just ask each of you, what is it about the LC that is different? Why work at the LC? Why is it different than any other gym or any other place to work?
It's personal. We are here not as a business, but we're a business, but we're more than a business to a lot of people. A lot of people come here and they walk around, and then they want to talk, and so you just sit down with them and you talk with them. Pickleballers, they come in and then they just want to play pickleball, and then they ask, hey, what's this, if they're new? What's this? And you get to be personal with them.
Yeah.
The love when I walk in the door every time. Everybody's so loving.
That's great.
Gave you some socks today, some sushi socks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
We just have a different purpose for our gym and our facilities. We're not trying to get as many gym memberships as we can, or trying to get as many pickleball players. Our purpose, and we talked about this at the beginning of summer, is to be a light to the community. And so the only way that we do that is through making those personal connections, like Jackson said. And so that's just, it really does help, like coming into work and being like, oh, I just have to sit there for 4 hours. But it's like, I get to be a light to other people. And so it definitely does help.
Well, you're all wrong, because the correct answer was the leadership.
No, that's not the right answer. That's not the right answer.
No, y'all, those are fantastic answers, and on point, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what we hope that you guys get out of it by working LC.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, thanks again. This is the end of the podcast. You guys did great. Todd, congratulations for finishing your third summer. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll be around for 2.
I hope so too. All right. Thanks for listening in on Winning with the Home Team. We'll be back, I guess, sometime soon. I'm not really sure, with the next episode. Thank you, guys.